The story began on a mysterious island, isolated from the world. There were no men here, only warriors. They were born strong and had never failed. One day, a competition was held. It was a contest meant only for adult warriors, but an 8-year-old girl stepped into a place she didn't belong. Her name was Diana, standing among tall, muscular adult warriors. The little girl showed no fear and simply said, "I can do this." The competition began, and everyone charged forward at once. The adults ran like arrows, but Diana used a lever to jump, nimbly navigated the obstacles, and quickly reached the front. She leapt into the sea, swimming to the other side at incredible speed. Then she chose the most beautiful warhorse, drew her bow, and fired her arrows flawlessly. Just when she thought she had it in the bag, she tripped over a tree branch and fell. Her horse kept running, leaving her behind. Diana used a slide to catch up with the horse, sped up continuously, and ultimately crossed the finish line first. But when she picked up the spear, ready to hit the target, the judge stopped her. The reason was simple. She had taken a shortcut she wasn't supposed to. The others completed the course one by one, and Diana could only stand aside and watch as her result was disqualified. At that moment, her mother, Hippolyta, came forward, pointed to the other warriors, and told her, "There are no shortcuts in life. Only step by step can victory truly be yours." Time passed, thousands of years went by. Diana now lived in the human world. By day, she worked as an ordinary museum employee. By night, she took on a mysterious identity, protecting the city. One day, 2 robbers broke into a mall museum, stealing a large number of valuable artifacts. Cornered by armed guards, one of them grabbed a little girl and threw her off a high floor. At the crucial moment, Diana appeared. She threw her lasso of truth and caught the child midair. From there, everything spiraled out of control. Diana smashed the security cameras, crushed a gun with her bare hands, and easily subdued the robbers with her lasso. The last tough guy had almost no chance to fight back in front of her. By the time the police arrived, the criminals had already been neatly taken care of. The next morning, Diana returned to the museum to continue work. The artifacts that had been stolen the day before were delivered for appraisal. The most eye-catching was a yellow crystal. It was engraved with a Latin inscription, and it was said to grant any wish. Diana and her colleague Barbara Minerva didn't believe it until a man passing by casually said he wanted a cup of hot coffee. The next second, his coffee appeared in front of him. Everyone thought it was a coincidence. Half jokingly, Diana picked up the crystal and made a wish to bring Steve Trevor back. Even she thought it was impossible. Life went on as usual, until one day, Steve's old watch on the table suddenly moved. That night, as usual, Diana saved people and attended a gala. Among the crowd, a man kept talking to her, even revealing things only Steve could know. Diana turned, and the moment she saw his face, she was completely stunned. Standing in front of her was truly Steve Trevor. Her wish had come true. At that moment, Diana could no longer hold back her longing for her boyfriend, and they immediately embraced. Meanwhile, Barbara picked up the crystal and made a wish to be as perfect and beautiful as Diana, and even to gain more power than Diana. The next morning, Barbara woke up with a flawless body. Her long-standing eyesight problems were gone, and her strength had grown so much she could easily tear a refrigerator door in half. She could hardly believe it was real. Barbara, who had been overlooked her whole life, suddenly became the center of attention at the gala, and even the oil tycoon Max was drawn to her. The two quickly fell in love. But Barbara didn't realize that Max's real target wasn't her. It was the wish-granting crystal. His company was failing. Bills piled up, investors withdrew, and bankruptcy loomed, pushing him to the edge. He set his sights on the magical crystal. When Max obtained it, his wish wasn't for money, but to transform himself into the crystal. As the crystal turned to ashes, all its power transferred to Max. The next day, Max approached investors, tricking them into making wishes with the cost of losing all their assets. Meanwhile, Diana, wanting to understand how her boyfriend had returned, found Barbara, only to learn that Max had already taken the crystal. They rushed to Max's house and saw only the crystal's base on the table. Realizing something serious had happened, fortunately, her boyfriend found Max's plane ticket in the trash, showing he was flying to Cairo. Diana worried he didn't have a passport, but he calmly said, "Just hop on any plane. Start it up. Fly this one." Being Steve Trevor, this was no problem. The next moment, they strode into the airport, picked a plane, and took off for Cairo. To avoid radar, Diana formed a ball of energy with her hands, attaching it to the plane to make it invisible. As they flew through bursts of fireworks, at that moment, Diana felt happier than ever. Meanwhile, Max had already helped many oil tycoons fulfill wishes, gaining control over most of the world's energy. On the way to his next target, he ran into Diana, who had just landed. Max ordered his armored vehicles to open fire to protect her boyfriend. Diana jumped off a car door, ran swiftly, leapt onto an enemy vehicle, and tore off its steering wheel, throwing it aside. A gunner fired a missile, and Diana dodged it skillfully, but the missile headed straight for her boyfriend. She quickly threw her lasso of truth, grabbed him, and pushed the moving truck forward. After blocking enemy fire, Diana slid on a metal plate to avoid attack, then used her lasso to fling the gunner away. A tank behind her fired, hitting her shoulder, forcing her to dive under a car for cover. Soldiers fired wildly, and she seized the moment to kick a drive shaft, leaping onto the armored vehicle, landing precisely on Max's car under her boyfriend's watchful eyes. When Diana demanded to know the crystal's location, the answer shocked her. To avoid attacks from behind, she jumped between two armored vehicles, almost getting crushed, but her boyfriend arrived just in time to buy some time. A group of children appeared ahead, and Diana had her boyfriend fire a missile, while she used her lasso to secure the target, detonating the explosives and using a nearby signal tower to finish the rescue. Although the mission ended relatively safely, Max still remained at large. Later, Diana and Barbara visited a Mayan household, discovering in ancient texts that the wish crystal came from an ancient evil deity. It could grant any wish, but would take away what mattered most. Clearly, Diana lost her powers, Max's health suffered, and Barbara lost her most essential thing. A man with dreadlocks explained that to break the curse, the crystal had to be destroyed, or the wisher had to willingly give it up. Barbara refused to give up her power, and Diana didn't want her boyfriend to disappear again. Facing Max, escorted by guards, Diana threw her lasso to grab him. Under gunfire, she gave her all but was injured in the arm. Luckily, her boyfriend saved her in time. She used a distraction to attract attention, then pulled to knock the enemy to the ground. A spinning light shield blocked all attacks, ending the battle completely. As Diana prepared to arrest Max, Barbara suddenly appeared and punched her away to stop Max from reclaiming the wish. Barbara chose to oppose Diana. Diana, seriously injured, was no match for Cheetah, even though she tied Barbara's arm with the lasso. She was tossed around, exhausted, and fell, and her boyfriend was knocked out as well. They boarded a helicopter to the satellite base, where Max planned to use the global broadcast system to make everyone wish. As Steve dragged injured Diana into the streets, he saw chaos everywhere. With global missile systems activated and civilians in panic, Steve urged Diana to give up her wish. Though reluctant, she made the decision to stop Max. Diana ran with all her strength. As the curse's magic weakened and her powers returned, she threw her lasso, leapt into the clouds, spread her arms to feel the wind, and learned to truly fly. Her light whip spun like a propeller, using wind and lightning as her momentum. Meanwhile, Max controlled all the satellite broadcasting centers. Streaming globally, he made everyone voice their wishes for money, weapons, or even casual words, granting them while taking their health. At that moment, only Diana could stop it all. She became a golden warrior, appearing above the base, facing enemy fire, combining her hands to release a shockwave. Repelling all FOs, Barbara returned, wishing for more power from Max. Turning into a half-human, half-beast monster, Cheetah kicked Diana with such speed that she couldn't fight back. Diana shielded herself with wings, but under Barbara's furious attacks, her golden feathers were plucked one by one, forcing her to push with all her strength to accelerate. She removed her massive wings, leapt, grabbed Barbara, and slammed her to the ground. Fighting from the ground into the air, Cheetah wrapped her in high-voltage wires, performing a deadly aerial waltz, breaking a power pole due to weight, and both fell into a lake. Diana saw high-voltage lines about to fall, and made one last plea for Barbara to turn back. Barbara laughed and refused. Diana pulled her into the water, using the electricity to knock her out. Diana then entered the base alone. Max now held the world's power, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't reach him, even pinned to a wall. As Max neared the final step, Diana threw her lasso around his ankle and shouted the truth to the world. The world is already perfect. Give up your wishes and everything will be restored. Her words moved everyone, and they withdrew their wishes. At that moment, Max remembered his tragic childhood and his endangered son, and finally chose to give up his wish. In the end, everything returned to normal. Wonder Woman 1984 has never been just about saving the world. It's a question. If wishes really could come true, what would you be willing to give in return?